Alright, welcome everybody. This is gonna be an impressions video of the game Narita Boy. So let's start out here. Let's start out with the gameplay. I think this was the best part of the game for me, combat. All the combat is sectioned off in these mini, quote-unquote, you must beat this group of enemies to pass sections. Hopefully everyone understands what those entail. It does make it so that you cannot skip enemies, and there is, I think, just the right amount of these. Little combat sections. The ratio between that and outer world traversal, I guess we'll call it. Yeah, there's not too much, yet not too little. Combat very fair, average difficulty, I felt. You can fill up a sword bar and use special abilities, or you can heal once you fill up those meters. Kind of like in Hollow Knight, that's what the healing felt like to me. You can fire shotgun shells and blasts and laser beams, and those are a separate meter that refill over time. You can also imbue yourself with 3 different fire types that let you deal extra damage if enemies are of the same type, but then they will also deal double damage to you, and other than that, having that fire effect doesn't really do anything differently if you're fighting enemies that are not of that specific fire type. All of these, as well as obtaining other combat abilities as the game progresses. There's very good enemy and boss variety, I felt. Some unique boss fights, and the patterns can be learned, and I thought were very fair. So it made combat more of a learning affair as opposed to something requiring twitch reflexes, which is kind of the combat that I enjoy. That more learning the pattern style. I did hop into this game expecting it to be more of a Metroidvania than it was. While you do get new abilities, most of them, save for a few of the later ones, are purely combat related. The gating in this game almost entirely getting floppy disks which serve as keys to unlock doors, and most of the game outside of combat I felt was running back and forth, getting the keys to open the doors, then backtracking left or backtracking right to figure out what door this floppy disk opens, and things like that. This kind of was a bit of a letdown to me. I would have liked a little more of the abilities to be what let you into other areas. Combine this with no map. That was really unfortunate. No map system, and it felt like I was just running back and forth essentially. If I was not in combat, just like mindlessly going left and right, figuring out where to go. There are very well hidden backup discs. You can get 4 of them. Then it does something. I don't know, they were so well hidden that I only managed to find 3. I'm guessing they're akin to Legend of Zelda heart pieces and grant me more health or something. Game took about 5 to 7 hours to beat, and this was with getting lost a few times, not knowing where to go, what door this key unlocked. You had to get somewhat stuck in some of the fights, but nothing too time-taxing there. Visually is a very trippy art style. In some parts it did become sort of an eyesore to me personally after a while, especially these memory blocks and these memory sequences. Oh man, I could not stare at those. It felt like staring at the sun if I looked directly at them. And when you boot up the game, there is even a message, photosensitivity warning. And I'm guessing those were the main culprit, those memory squares, we'll call them. And let's talk about sound briefly too. One of the highlights of this game that they promoted it based on was the sound. And while I did think it had a really good soundtrack, I wasn't personally blown away by it. But that could just be me. I prefer my more chiptune style soundtracks and whatnot. So that's my little recap impressions of the game Narita Boy. Let me know if you guys have played it in the comments below, if it sounds interesting to you. Like, subscribe, suggest other games you would like covered. And with that being said, everybody have a good night, good morning, enjoy your games. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys again next time. Goodbye, everybody.